Hi, and welcome back to Math with Jack. Today we will be doing questions 13 through 15 of the Algebra 2 Honors Semester 2 Study Guide. So let's start with question 13. Question 13 asks us to convert from degrees to radians. The first degree it gives us is 325 degrees. Now, the way to convert from degrees to radians is by multiplying the degrees by pi over 180. And when we do that, we just multiply it like that, we get 325 pi over 180, which, when reduced, equals 65 pi over 36, which is the final answer for question 13, part A. For question 13, part B, we get a degree of 775, and once again we're going to do the same thing, multiply it by pi over 180. We're going to get 775 pi over, that's a 7, oops, that's fine, over 180, and once again reduced gives us 155 pi over 36. Now, for question 13, part C, it gives us negative 180 degrees, which I'm sure you can agree is a lot cleaner than the last ones that we have. But once again, we're going to do the same steps. We're going to multiply by pi over 180. And we're going to get negative 180 pi over 180. Obviously, our 180s are going to cancel off, and we are going to get an answer of negative pi. Now, for 13D, gives us negative 365 degrees. Same thing, we're going to multiply by pi over 180. And when reduced, we're going to get negative 365 pi over 180. And then when reduced, we're going to get negative 73 pi over over 36. Now, let's see what Darian thinks about all this.
It's very good. I like it a lot.
Alright, now on to question 14 of the study guide, which asks us to convert from radians to degrees, which is the exact opposite of what we did for question 13. And the steps are the same, but reversed. So instead of multiplying your degrees by pi over 180, like we did before, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply our radians by 180 over pi. So we're just going to use the reciprocal, which makes sense when you think about it. So the first radian measure it gives us is 7 pi over 6 radians. And if we multiply that by 180 over pi, obviously our pi's are going to cancel off, and then we get 7 times 180 divided by 6, which comes out to 210 degrees. So there's our answer for 14A. For 14B, gives us negative 8 pi over 3 radians. Once again, going to multiply by 180 over pi, and pi's are going to cancel out. We're going to have negative 8 times 180 divided by 3, and that is going to come out to negative 480 degrees. So there's our answer for 14B. For 14C, gives us 7 pi over 12 radians. Once again, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Our pi's are going to cancel out. We're going to get 17 times 180 divided by 12, which comes out, of course, if you have your calculators with you, to 255 degrees. Now, on to question 14D. We get negative 25 pi divided by 36, multiplied, of course, by 180 over pi, and we get negative 125 degrees. Now, let's check in with Dean and see what he thinks. All right, welcome back. Now we're on question 15. For question 15, it asks us to state one positive and one negative coterminal for each angle. Now this is very easy. For each one, what we are going to do is we are going to add or subtract a full circle or 360 degrees to each angle, and if it's a radian, we are going to add or subtract 2 pi. So let me explain that a little better. Let's work on question 15a. It gives us negative 320 degrees. Okay? And we're looking for one positive and one negative coterminal. The negative coterminal, what we're going to do is we're going to do negative 320 minus 360, which is all the way around a circle one time. That's going to equal negative 680 degrees, and that is our negative coterminal. Now, if we were to subtract 360 again, that would be another negative coterminal, and if we continued on, so on and so forth, it would be the same. Now, for the positive coterminal, we're going to do the same exact thing, except we're going to add 360. So we're going to take negative 320 plus 360, and that is going to equal 40 degrees. And that is our one positive coterminal. Again, if we added 360 again, it would be another positive coterminal. Now, next up, it gives us 7 pi over 12 radians. So the same thing applies. We're going to add or subtract the length of a circle around. But we can't use degrees, so we can't use 360 degrees. So instead, we're going to use the equivalent in radians, which of course is 2 pi. And for this case, since we have a denominator of 12, we want to keep that denominator of 12. So instead of doing 2 pi, we're going to do 24 pi over 12, which is equivalent to 2 pi, but makes the math a little easier. And so for our positive coterminal, you're going to get 31 pi over 12. Now for our negative coterminal, once again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our initial radian of 7 pi over 12, subtract 24 pi over 12, and we're going to get negative 17 pi over 12. Okay, it's that easy. Now into 15c, it gives us 770 degrees. Now, start with the positive coterminal. For this one, we are going to subtract 360. I know for all the other ones we've been adding 360, but if you'll notice, when we subtract 360, we still have a positive degree. So if the number is above 360, you can subtract 360 one time and you'll still get a positive coterminal. Now for the negative coterminal, you'll notice if we subtract 360 one time, we have a positive angle, and that would not be a positive coterminal, it would be, or excuse me, it would not be a negative coterminal, it would be a positive coterminal. So let's try subtracting 360 one more time. So 410 minus 360 is still going to be a positive angle, so that's not going to work. So let's try subtracting 360 one more time. That works. When we subtract 360 3 times, we're going to get negative 310 degrees. And that is our first negative coterminal for 770 degrees. So I hope that makes sense. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now we're going to check in with Collier and see if he enjoyed the video.